my like Tinder profile, literally, my Tinder bio literally has the quote "spiciest."
Holy shit! My Tinder bio has expert at talking about E3 highs and lows on it, which is what I'm going to talk about next.
Damn.
In case any of you were
Damn,
left
that's some
wondering.
spicy transition.
Master, dude. All right.
But all right. So I'm, for one, the thing I'm looking to most in video games going forward, and this not only kind of has to do with E3, but just all of game development in general, is virtual reality. Because I worked, I got my degree in psychology. I don't know if I mentioned that. I have a Bachelor of Science in Psych, and I did a lot of research with video games as it relates to, or as they relate to, immersion, psychology, and decision making. So in my last semester, I continued working with the lab after I graduated in 2016, and we've been working with the PlayStation 4 virtual reality console. And if you guys have not tried one of the virtual reality headsets, oh my god, it's so cool. Like, I cannot express enough how just like jubilant it was to like put it on. I felt like I was 5 years old, and I'm like, wow, mom, look. It's really a unique experience. So I'm really looking forward to the continued investment from game developers to create some of the great titles we've been able to experience on regular screens, except now with much more immersion. And I think the Xbox One X is going to support virtual reality, but that's probably what I'm most excited about, since I don't have a Switch, and that's what all the other cool stuff was for. From at least it seemed like it to me.
All right. So what's your low? What's the low of like? What do you think? It doesn't have to necessarily be the worst game, but like maybe something dumb that happened there. There's a lot to choose from.
We can all agree on the thing. The low is a word that starts with B and ends with A.
Oh my gosh, yeah, yeah. Their presentation value was not great.
Not great is an understatement.
All right, first of all, clarify exactly who you're talking about, in case anyone's confused.
Bethesda.
Yeah, a lot of people were expecting some new like Elder Scrolls 6 like title announcement, and then we just got a 45-minute presentation of Skyrim again. Woo.
They're milking a dead cow. I mean, like, the cow is so dead that, like, when you just squeeze its udder, all that comes out is, like, like blue cheese. And it's not, like, good blue cheese.
Oh
it's,
my
like,
God.
blue cheese Walmart. Like,
Just sounds like an infection. What the hell? Like an STD or
basically, like, Skyrim has been out for, like, how long now? Like, 5
6 years.
Like, last year they released the Ultimate Edition or whatever. Like, it like that was nice, but like no new content, no nothing. Like, it's just like, even like a DLC or like some sort of like expansion would have been nice. I mean, like, to be fair, they have the 3 expansions, but like I feel like they're just like, okay, I think until we're gonna do something, we're just gonna Elder Scrolls Online this.
Yeah, what they should do is work on making Elder Scrolls Online not a bad MMO. Like, it's basically a single player game where every now and then you see another person.
That's a lot of shade you're throwing, considering you guys like play that all the time.
I don't. I have like 3 hours.
Yeah, I do like playing the game, but it's also a single player game. It's not.
Okay.
I mean, I haven't gotten to late game content yet, so I don't know how that works. But the game is a single player game that occasionally you can play with friends or see other people. But it's just not.
Really not a lot of classes. There's like 5 in total. To be fair, there's different trees that you can take to have different play styles, but it's still very, very. It's kind of like MapleStory.
That's one thing I've always been kind of sad about in terms of Blizzard, because I for one really enjoy like the lore of games and like background stories and things like that, or character backstories and stuff. And when they made the transition from Warcraft 3 into World of Warcraft, I mean, World of Warcraft is a fantastic game that it kind of speaks for itself. That's been around for like what 13 years now, and it's still like the number one MMO out there. But I just feel like there isn't the storytelling can't be quite as tight, and you get a lot more kind of depth in terms of like fleshing out the world, and I think that's really cool that you can see all different parts of Azeroth. But when you're kind of going to do something like, say, in the recent expansion, I don't know, fighting the Burning Legion, I just feel like the story sounds less intense when it's like, yes, then a group of adventurers came and slew the final boss and all was good, instead of seeing something like Arthas v. Illidan 1v1 at the Frozen Throne like you saw in Warcraft 3. So I'm really hoping Elder Scrolls doesn't kind of fall victim to that, and that they actually kind of continue developing, but I don't know.
Yeah, and that's like one thing about games like these. It takes a very it's a very linear game, and sometimes it just breaks off in very unnecessary aspects and the climaxes, like the turning points of the stories. They don't have that much of an impact as they really, really should. And like I know a lot of like modern RPGs, especially fantasy, base themselves off of Pathfinder or Dungeons and Dragons, but what they fail to realize is that like, yeah, it is a linear story, but at the same time, like, unless we can like make it less like, oh, I'm just gonna grind this boss or kill this boss for loot, versus like, holy crap, this is a well fleshed out character that I actually am invested in, and stuff like that. Like, lore plays such a big part in games.
Yeah, and you kind of mentioned
like RPG, like
you kind of mentioned milking an old moldy cow with Elder Scrolls already. What about World of Warcraft, man? Like that cow's like dried up and husky, and now you're moving on to the bull, trying to get milk out of that. That thing's been around so long, and it kind of is starting to show with like the graphics and stuff. But I don't know if there's a like easy way for them to kind of fix that.
Make a new game.
World of Warcraft 2.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, though, they have to stop expansions at some point, move on to a new project.
yeah. But the thing is, there's a lot of people who pushed a lot of money into World of Warcraft. So unless if like there's a large amount of people who are like, okay, I'm not playing this game anymore, like they literally can't, because people would be really pissed. It's like, dude, I paid like $1,000 over the years for this game, and you're just gonna cut it off just like that? Like, I'm not hot for her.
Austin, what were your highs and lows in E3?
Oh god,
Man, I was so high.
So,
Holy.
so I am really excited for Evil Within 2. It looks absolutely gorgeous. I'm a big fan of horror games. I used to play them. I would come home from school and play 2 games with my best friend in high school. I'd play Halo 3, and I would play Resident Evil like 4 and 5 with friends. And I'm super nostalgic about them. And having Shinji Mikami work on a new game is very exciting.
Have you played Resi 7?
I actually haven't. I think 6 is the last one.
Watch through.
Yeah,
Washed up horror game expert.
Oh yeah,
Is it bad? I haven't.
it's pretty decent.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of good things. And in the PlayStation VR that I've used, we used to do like a demo reel of games, except one of them was Resident Evil 7. And I was unaware that it was called Kitchen in this demo disc. So I came into the lab when we first got the PSVR, a few days after the other people had already kind of gotten familiar with it. So they sat me down. They're like, "All right, you're gonna play this game called Kitchen." I'm like, "Cool, virtual reality kitchen. Oh, it's gonna be like Cooking Mama. I get to like make spaghetti and chop up like fish."
Oh my god.
And then I loaded the game.
It's that game.
I'm strapped to this chair. My friend's lying, bleeding out on the floor. And I'm like in this dank old house about to collapse on my face. And when this woman comes out and tortures me to death. So that was not a fun experience. And I'm not a fan of horror.
Welcome to Cooking
horror
Mama.
movies, horror games. Yeah.
I guess you're the one who got cooked or butchered. I don't know.
Yeah.
Delicious.
So
Not good.
that's one of the things I'm excited about. The other one is Anthem. Anthem looks absolutely amazing. The one thing I'm worried about is the quality of demos being significantly higher than the quality of games these days. I hope they
True.
keep up with their production value up to the last second when that game. I hope good throughout, as opposed to what we just saw. Obviously, it's not going to look exactly like it, but I really have hope. I mean, like, it mixes my two favorite things, which is like a Halo like shooter with the
Fantasy
expertise of BioWare. Like, BioWare does do good games, and they I hope the mesh between the two is good, because BioWare is good at a very specific type of game, and them jumping right into like a first-person shooter that's supposed to compete with Destiny 2,
Right.
interesting, and especially since they're competing with Destiny 2, literally the Bungie, like people who made first-person shooters popular,
Yeah.
like they're gonna compete with that. But it does look beautiful, and it does run on the Frostbite engine, so I'm excited to see what that game can do.
It looks really cool, but it reminds me a little bit too much of Tom Clancy's The Division, because that was a game I was like pretty hyped for, and then it came out and it sucked.
I
and
remember that
Ubisoft, but
yeah. That one thing, like on release, people had to like line up for the NPCs. Did you
Oh,
remember
God.
that? Like,
Uh-huh.
oh god, you guys need to search that up later. Like, because what they did was they made it that so like, when an NPC is interacting with a player, all the other players cannot interact with that NPC.
Oh,
So
God.
they all had to get like a mandatory quest from the beginner NPC. Like,
no.
so they had like to line up, and then and then remember there's like voice chat in the game. I think.
Line
And
simulator.
then people, yeah, literally, like the Division was line simulator when it first came out, and then like when people cut, they're just like, dude, don't cut, like,
That's terrible. But
Yeah.
also hilarious.
yeah, exactly.
You're waiting. I can imagine somebody like waiting for the release at midnight or something. Like, all right, I've been here 3 hours now. I can go home. And fuck, I'm waiting in more life.
Oh my god.
I quit my job for this.
So bad.
Oh my god.
Well, that's unfortunate. But as for my low of 3, it'd have to be, I don't know if you guys saw was it Need for Speed? The Need for Speed presentation? So they had they had a famous YouTuber come in. The guy who does prank for prank. I think his name's Jesse. Or Prank vs Prank. Did you guys see
Yeah.
that? And
I didn't see the presentation, but I know who
I
you're
don't
talking
think
about.
it was Need for Speed. I think it was like
Or like Forza or something. It was a
Forza
racing
7
game
or something like that.
Yeah, Forza was like an Xbox only IP.
Anyways, he gave the most awkward presentation, and it was so bad. And I mean, I don't want to hate on the guy too much, but I think it also could be considered a high, because it really goes to show you how these companies that are hiring people to do jobs for probably like thousands of dollars, they need to like do more research. If you're gonna hire somebody just for like the value they have for like preteens, you should also make sure they'll give a good presentation. And it also shows you like people are different than their on-screen personas.
appealing to preteens is always a mistake. You want to
Oh my
appeal to
God.
the like 18-year-old audience, and then preteens will want
To
to
be the age.
join that.
Oh my gosh. It's like there's a fidget spinner like shop, and
God.
it's nothing but fidget spinners. It's just why. Like,
Have you tried using a fidget spinner?
no.
Alright, so I was skeptical, and then like my brother got one because he's 14, and I'm not gonna judge him. That's like the middle school thing to do. But I spun it, and when you like move it around your finger, the distribution of weight is actually like really. I don't know how to describe it. It's just really pleasing. It's like, wait, what the heck? This is actually like kind of fun, but I'm not condoning it.
You better not
Good.
be not on my
better
chat.
not be.
Get out.
Shit.
Man, imagine like being in a business meeting.
So in other news, we're having an opening for a new co-host, and
No.
just kidding.
Yeah.
Rip Reza.
Sorry, Reza, you're out.
God damn. Who's gonna be your Cho?
Oh, true. Yeah, we
Oh,
have to choke
true.
all together. God damn. You're lucky I need you for something. No, just kidding.
Oh my.
Just kidding.
Other than being a token Muslim. I'm joking.
That's
I-
mostly all I'm used for.
Yeah. In terms of my E3 highs and lows, so like I'm a big PC gamer just because I don't have that many consoles. The only console I have right now is the Wii U. But that just also indicates that I really, really do love Nintendo. So yeah, E3 highs for me, definitely the Nintendo games. Other than literally Sun and Moon, that's really unnecessary, and I felt like they could have done something with like Pokemon Eclipse or something like that. That would have been dope. But nah, we're gonna do Sun 2 and Moon 2, like bruh.
Yeah, I'm pretty skeptical about that. I do want to say that Black and White 2 were pretty solid games in their own right, as long as you don't like take a lot of the value from getting new Pokemon.
Yeah, definitely. Like the one thing that I did like about Black and White 2, apart from like its predecessors like Emerald or stuff like that, it's literally because oh no, it was Emerald, Platinum, and yeah, I think those are
Yellow.
Yellow. Yeah, they're basically mirrors. It's just the games like for that it's based off of, and there's not that much new content. Like it's just like one or two minor tweaks. But the thing about like Black and White 2, and hopefully Sun and Moon 2 going forward, is that they're completely games. Different antagonists, protagonists, different stuff like that. Like I think Black and White 2 had a lot of new Pokemons, and like that's pretty interesting, and it's just their marketing could have been a lot better. Like that's just one thing about Nintendo that kind of irks me, is they have such good games. They have potential for doing so well, but sometimes like their marketing towards like the older crowd is lacking.
And that's actually kind of one thing that bugs me a little bit about Nintendo. And a lot of people have been hyping this E3 for Nintendo. Like, wow, they have Metroid Prime 4. They have like Mario Odyssey. They have Breath of the Wild just came out. Nintendo is such a great like company right now. But a lot of times their game libraries are like super front loaded in terms of the lifespan of the console. Where in the first 2 years that after the console's released, you'll have 9 out of 10 of the best games the console will ever have. So if you play through those games that after the first 2 years, it's like the library just drops off a cliff, and there's like, okay, what do I do now? Just play Smash for the next 6 years until a new one comes out?
Yeah, that is really, really true. And like that was the case with like that was the case with the Wii U and well, like currently, like the Wii U has a lot of really, really good games. Like for example, like Bayonetta 2, for example, Smash 4 is always good. Breath of the Wild is available on the Wii U. Splatoon is one of the first games of its kind. It beat out, I think, like Modern Warfare or Counter-Strike for the best shooter of the year one year,
Damn.
which was kind of funny.
It's a fun game.
Which one?
Same. Splatoon. It beat
Shit.
out like a bunch of like big name shooters. It's- Wow.
Besides Halo 3, my second shooting game that I really enjoyed, and it's gonna sound bad, is there was a Medal of Honor. I don't even remember which game it was. It was for the
Oh.
Wii, and I became
Oh.
so good at sniping in that game. Like,
In the
okay,
Wii?
to snipe, you had to hold the Wii remote towards the screen. You had to press like the back button on the controller, and you had to tilt it right and left, depending upon if you wanted to zoom in or not. And I got so good at like sniping people across map. It was absolutely insane, dude.
You mastered a skill you'll literally never use for the rest of your life.
I don't know.
Yes.
If I work in a factory someday, I could probably use the same fucking rotating, but just it was quite fun. That's all I'm gonna say. And speaking of Pokemon, two things. One, did you hear Pokemon is getting the Pokemon game has been leaked for the Switch? Like they're
wait,
they're coming out
when
with
was
an
this?
original
What?
Pokemon RPG for the Switch.
Wait, I thought that was an announcement that they said there'll be like a mainline RPG game on the Switch. I didn't think it was a leak.
Oh, I thought it was a leak. Never mind. Okay, so but was it at? I thought it was not at E3. Did they announce that at E3?
I can't remember off the top
Oh
of my head.
yeah. Pokken tournament.
No, they're like
Oh, another one?
like a main Pokemon title that's new. Like it's not going to be like a remake of Sun and Moon.
Yeah. Oh well, yeah. It's been announced, but
Actually, I hope it's not a remake of Sun and Moon. That'd be funny.
Oh
like
my God.
in the
That'd
end,
be
we just
pretty
get like
shitty.
Pokemon something.
yo, it'll be so cool if you can like all I want is a Pokemon game where you can play like in from like the beginning. You start at like Pallet Town, and then you like travel across the world and get all the gym badges, and then like literally like you have patches and like entering new like whatchamacallit, regions and whatnot. That's literally like the dream.
I'd be
Speaking
God.
of which, I've heard in the new Pokemon Go update and stuff, they're going